Okay, we are fast coming into race season, whether you're in the Northern Hemisphere or the Southern Hemisphere. March kind of signifies the beginning of the race season. So in today's episode of Wire Run TV, we've got the perfect race day warm-up for you. So let's roll the credits and get this started. Okay, so welcome back to another episode of Wire Run TV. Thanks very much for joining us each and every week that we put these episodes up there. It's really great to have you on board, and we really appreciate all the feedback that you give us. I wonder if last week you managed to find some stairs, and I wonder if you managed to get up and down a few sets of stairs and really build some strength, particularly in those calves and those glutes and those hamstrings that will benefit you coming into race season. So that's why we're here today for this episode. Thank you a huge amount to Heather. She actually wrote to us last week and said she's coming into race season and she would love to know what we would recommend for a perfect race day warm-up. So in this episode, we're going to talk to you about a race day warm-up, something that you can implement. It's only 10 or 15 minutes long and it's perfect whether your race day is a 1K or whether it's right through to an ultra. So hopefully you can take away a few tips from us today and implement this into your race day strategy. I think the first thing to understand with our race day warm-up nowadays is that it's very different to what it was 20 years ago. I remember as a high school cross-country and track athlete, so much of our warm-up was about static stretching. Now, scientists have, and sports scientists have moved away from that dramatically, and now the idea of a static stretch is completely outlawed in terms of race day warm-up. So we use the term a dynamic stretch, which basically means that we're warming up in a dynamic, in a fluid way, using the running movements that we would use in a race. So nothing is stationary, everything is moving, and that's the most important thing to understand with your race day warm-up. Make it dynamic, get away from those static stretches. So we are making the assumption here as well is that you've set out your race gear the night before, you've got your bib placed on there perfectly, you've allowed plenty of time for public transport or for you to actually get to the race. So hopefully that's something you've got into your race repertoire now, is actually putting in a huge amount of time to actually get to the event. It never ceases to amaze me how many people you see turning up and pretty much run straight from their car and get straight on the start line. So that's something we're assuming that you have done. So you've got a bit of time before the race, you've gone to the toilets, you've sorted out with your family, you've dropped your bag off, and you've now got about half an hour before your race actually begins. So this little warm-up that we're going to go through now is perfect for what you want to do. Again, going back to what I remember from high school and cross country, my coach, Mr. Tucker, used to say to me, you want to be on that start line with a little bit of sweat, few little beads of sweat, which means that your body is nice and warm and that you're ready to go. You really don't want to be standing around for too long. I know that's difficult in big races. If you're in a big marathon or a massive race where you have to be on the start line 15 or 20 minutes beforehand, that can be difficult, but you could still do some of these warm-ups on the spot or in the couple of meters around you. But for those smaller races where you can warm up freely and you can get to the start line, try and get to the start line with a few little beads of sweat on your brow and a little bit of an elevated heart rate so that you can go straight into the race. So every good warm-up needs to start with a very simple 5 to 10 minutes of running or jogging as slow as you possibly can, or even just a fast-paced walk is absolutely perfect, and that's something which we can do in any single race that we're going for. So a 5 to 10 minute slow jog will get us going. After that, going through some dynamic stretches and doing a few stride outs is absolutely perfect. And I'm going to show you those now and give you a couple of examples for what to do. Every single sort of dynamic warm-up or dynamic stretch that we do has to sort of replicate what we're going to be doing in the race day. We don't really want to be doing something which has nothing to do with running. So you'll see with these examples I'm about to show you that they all kind of replicate some sort of running movement, or they all get our body ready for actually racing and running hard. Okay, so the first of our dynamic stretches or dynamic warm-ups that I'm going to show you is just a simple lunge. Now these lunges are a warm-up lunge. They're not designed to be a strenuous one that you would do in the gym when you're trying to work on strength. So find yourself a 50-meter area and just do 3 lunges on your right and 3 on your left, and then jog it off really slow to where that 50-meter mark is, and then walk it back. You want to repeat that maybe 3 times, and the lunges are really good for just opening up the hip joints, getting a little bit of warmth through there, and getting that feeling of really beginning to stride out. So there's our first dynamic warm-up. So our second dynamic warm-up is just a bit of a quad stretch for this one. So again, using that 50-meter area, take a step forward, stretch your left quad, then take 3 more steps forward, stretch your right quad, hold it for 3 seconds, 3 more steps forward, left and right again. Do that 3 times on each side and then jog off to the 50. come back to where you started and repeat that 3 times. Again, this is a really nice warm-up to do for such a powerful muscle that we're going to be using, and such a powerful muscle that we require in order to run our best possible race. Okay, the next one is a little bit of a yoga one. It's one that I used to do with a lot of cross-country teams that I've trained as well, and it really is a nice one to actually start to feel the warmth get through your body. So for this one, again, 3 steps forward, and then just run your fingers down the back of your legs, down to your ankles, and then stand up, stretch up nice and tall. Feel that stretch go through your stomach and through your arms and through your hamstrings. Take 3 more steps forward, repeat it again. Go as nice and slowly as you possibly can. This one's a beautiful one to do actually if the sun is coming up. You can do it towards the sun. It really gives you a nice warmth feeling, gets you in touch with nature and gets you ready to actually run your race. Again, do it 3 or 4 times, jog off to the 50, come back and repeat that 3 times in total. It's a beautiful one to do, gets a bit of yoga into your stretching as well, brings the hamstrings into it, brings the lower back and the stomach muscles and the chest and the arms. So it's a beautiful one to put into your race day preparation. Okay, so after you've done those sort of dynamic warm-up stretches there, another good thing that you can do is just a couple of little drills. So I'm going to show you a couple of drills now that sort of, again, are a bit of a step up from the dynamic stretches that you would have done with your lunges and your quad stretch and your hamstring stretch there. So first of all is fast feet. So this one's quite good fun. It's just a chance for you to get up and down nice and quick, get those calf muscles warmed up, to get those ligaments around the ankles warmed up as well. So doing these for 5 meters or so and then just walking it off and repeating 3 times is a nice one to do. Secondly, after that is the tried and tested, the high knees. Focus here again on actually getting your high knees up and down as quick as possible. It's not about how far you go forward, but it's about how quick you can get your knees up and down. A very good one for race day. And third and finally, a really good one that you can do, just a bit of a nice technical march. It can be done as a skip as well, but that's a bit complicated. So just marching forward with a nice high knee and your arm in good placement gets that idea of just making sure that everything's in line. So putting in a couple of drills can also be part of your race day warm-up. Okay, and as the clock is ticking closer to gun time, with about 5 or 6 minutes left, what you can do are some tried and tested run-throughs or strides or whatever you want to call them. Again, find yourself 50 meters, do the first 1 or 2 at a nice medium sort of pace, and then number 3, 4, accelerate up, go from slow up to a hard pace, and then maybe the 5th one, do it the sort of pace that you're going to begin your race at. So nice and quick, focusing on good leg turning over, focusing on good posture, and that should get those little beads of sweat up on your forehead, elevate the heart rate just a little bit, and will get you perfectly in the zone so that you can jog over then to the start line. When you're at the start line, you might have a minute or 2 where you're standing around, particularly if it's a smaller race. Do a couple of those quick feet when you're on the start line, do a couple of those dynamic stretches that we showed you at the start. If it's a big race, if it's a massive marathon, I know sometimes they want you to be there 10 or 15 minutes before the gun. So again, think about what are the things that you can do in the space around you. You might only have 3 or 4 meters, but just doing some little jumps on the spot, just doing some quick feet, doing a couple of those little dynamic stretches you might be able to do if you've got a few meters. So it gets you ready for race time and it gets you ready for when the gun goes, that we can get straight into it. Okay guys, so that's it for this week's episode of Wire Run TV. Hopefully it's given you something to think about for your race day warm-up. A bit of a weekly challenge for you this week. We'd love to know what you guys do in your race day preparation. I know we're a bit of a creature of habit sometimes, and so we have these sometimes superstitious race day warm-ups. Some of them are useful, some of them are just because we need to feel that it's race day. So send us a little video, send us a little comment in the sections below, and just tell us what are the things that you do on race day. And also, as I said at the start of this episode, a huge thanks to Heather. She actually wrote to us in the week and asked us to put this together as a bit of an idea of what you can do for your race day warm-up. So we have lots of ideas for future episodes, but if you would have something that you want us to talk about, then please let us know. Send us a message, put a bit of a comment in the description below, and we can put together an episode on a topic that you're interested in. We'd love to know what you guys want us to talk about. So big thanks to Heather, and hopefully you guys at home can give us some ideas as well for future episodes. So whatever it is that you have planned this week, if it's a big race day, maybe put this race day warm-up or a little bit of what we've talked about into your warm-up. If you're in the middle of a big training block, then best of luck. Hopefully you can train well this week, you can sleep well, do all those things that are important and easy to tick off, so like your sleep and your nutrition and your hydration and things like that. Those are the things that make our training better week for week. If you haven't subscribed to our channel already, we would love for you to do so you can follow us and get involved in the engagement that we have each week with these episodes. And we look forward to talking with you in 7 days' time. Have a great week and train hard and rest hard.